Resident Evil 4 is a timeless classic and is no stranger to keeping itself relevant in the future. Whether it be multiple ports, VR versions, or just straight up an entire remake, Resident Evil 4 was always going to be a part of the future. ChatGPT is an AI program anyone can access and ask any question you want. Pretty much, at least, as long as that something happened before January 2022. The model hasn't been updated quite yet, and that specifically is the reason we will be heading back to the original 2005 version of Resident Evil 4 for this video. From what I can tell, anytime you ask ChatGPT a question, it pulls from several sources from all over the internet, sometimes with a very loose relation, which leads to some very interesting results and strategies. So, for this video, we're going to be diving deep into ChatGPT's knowledge and asking it for strategies to take us through yet another Resident Evil adventure. We'll throw in some AI voice work and maybe even an AI interview at the end. Who knows? All I know is I'm never touching the future again after this video to maintain my sanity, so please enjoy this trip down AI lane through Resident Evil 4. We have a few important things to ask our AI friend right off the bat. What difficulty we need to play on for our brand new playthrough, and even more importantly, what costume to wear. We should go ahead and get used to not really getting an entirely concise answer. The AI is very good at leaving things up for us to interpret and decide ultimately. As far as difficulty goes, it suggests that if we're newer players, then to go with an easier difficulty, or if we're more vetted, then to opt for something harder. But ultimately, it suggests we do what we want, and we'll have the most fun with. So I just went with normal, since I haven't played OG in a while. The costume selection is similar. The AI adds Ashley's suit of armor as a third option, as if it isn't attached to Leon's Special 2 costume, which I find funny. Leon's RPD uniform is a classic and great choice for those who want a more classic feel. The Mafia outfit gives a touch of coolness, style, and mystery, which sounds a whole lot cooler, so I chose that one. Now that we're ready to ride into the village, let's hear what ChatGPT has for some general strategies coming up.
Your initial goal is to rescue the president's daughter Ashley Graham, who has been kidnapped and taken to a mysterious village in Europe. The villagers, infected with a mind-controlling parasite, are your primary adversaries. The village is a maze of narrow paths, houses, and open areas. Explore houses for supplies, including ammunition, herbs, and treasures. Interact with the merchant to upgrade weapons and buy/sell items. Manage resources wisely. Conserve ammunition and health items. Use barricades and environmental elements to your advantage during encounters. Look for clues and notes to uncover the mystery behind the villagers. Midway through the village segment, you'll encounter chainsaw ganados. Aim for their heads and use your surroundings to avoid their attacks. Strategically use grenades or explosives to deal significant damage. Find and use the blue medallions to unlock a special weapon. Solve environmental puzzles to progress through the village. After completing key objectives, head to the exit, leading to the next segment.
Okay, and what weapon should I use throughout the village segment?
Choosing the right weapons in the village segment of Resident Evil is crucial for survival. Here are some recommended weapons based on their effectiveness against the enemies you encounter. The starting handgun is reliable for headshots, conserving ammunition. Upgrade its firepower and capacity with the merchant. The shotgun is excellent for crowd control, especially in the narrow spaces of the village. Use it to deal with groups of enemies and for close-quarter combat. The bolt-action rifle is effective for picking off enemies from a distance. Use it to target specific threats, like the chainsaw-wielding ganados. Hand grenades and incendiary grenades are valuable for dealing with groups. Save them for tight spots or when overwhelmed. Flash grenades can temporarily blind enemies, providing an opportunity to escape or deal with them more easily. Use them strategically, especially against groups of ganados. Prioritize upgrading the firepower and capacity of your handgun and shotgun. Consider investing in reload speed and critical headshot upgrades. Obtain the Punisher, a special handgun, by shooting the 10 blue medallions in the village. It has piercing capabilities, making it useful against multiple enemies in a line. Save more powerful weapons like the TMP, submachine gun, or Magnum for later. Segments. Ammunition for these weapons may be scarce in the early stages. Tailor your weapon choices to your playstyle. If you prefer precision shots, invest in handguns and rifles. If you like close combat, focus on shotguns. Ammo conservation is crucial. Don't waste bullets on every enemy. Use melee attacks when possible. Visit the merchant regularly to sell treasures and buy essential items. Remember that resource management is key in Resident Evil, so choose weapons that complement your playstyle while ensuring you have enough ammunition for critical encounters. Upgrade wisely, conserve resources, and adapt your strategy as you progress through the village segment.
We do the usual opening activities by taking down the first enemy with ease and then cinematically jumping out of the window. Gander down at our now lost comrades and avoid a plethora of set traps as we trundle down the path to the village. But there's one person that didn't quite avoid the traps. And what will the AI say about it? Well, really, it's just going to tell us to do what we want, and we save the dog around here. As we enter the village proper, I tried to prompt the AI to give us a more specific strategy, but it just generalizes the village section as a whole, and basically gives the exact same notes as before with some minor differences. Keeping the general strategies in mind, we're able to defend ourselves and even take down the chainsaw ganado. Everybody goes to bingo, and we loot the village with keeping our resources up in mind. In the farm area, we shoot down 6 blue medallions to work towards our free Punisher pistol until later. I also grabbed the beer stein before being chased by the rock and blown up by some dynamite. The red cat's eye is also here, and before we know it, we've met Luis. We don't have a smoke for him, and we get captured, sending us into the valley. The AI didn't seem to be able to differentiate this valley from any other valley in the game, so as far as strategy goes, we're just going to do it. The merchant is here, however, and we decided to grab the aforementioned firepower and capacity upgrades for our pistol and shotgun, and also the bolt-action sniper rifle for later use. We traverse the valley, collecting the medallions halves as per usual, and find ourselves in the factory-like area. The main thing we grab here is the elegant mask and pretty much immediately make our way up to the very simple Plagas puzzle leading into the Big Cheese's house. We collect the Las Plagas key and then get grabbed like trending Twitter stars before heading into the next chapter. We sweep and loot the Cheese Man's house, and outside we encounter the Chainsaw Ganado boss battle I think the AI mentioned before. With that in mind, we pick it off using the bolt-action sniper rifle with mostly headshots until it gets just too close, and then finish it off with our shotgun and then gain the ruby treasure. We stumble through the village proper once again and use our new key. The next bit is just traveling through the church collecting miscellaneous items, shooting one very specific crow, as well as burning through the swamp area before asking the AI our next move. Time to fight Del Lago, and we definitely need some advice. At the start, the advice is pretty good, telling us to do our due preparation and to familiarize ourselves with the boat's movements before heading onwards. We're forewarned of the harpoons used to fight as well and to dodge attacks from the lunging Del Lago. Once the fight starts, the AI tells us to aim the harpoons at the large eyeball on Del Lago's back that's totally been there the whole time. After throwing each harpoon, we have to retrieve it, apparently, by steering the boat close to the floating harpoon, which isn't a mechanic I remember, but AI knows all. Aside from that, it's all the same repeated attacks until the final harpoon pierces the Magikarp and it sinks to the bottom of the lake floor, and we pass out in a random cabin. Our next main enemy is the El Gigante, and ChatGPT has some strategies for us.
Facing El Gigante in the village is a significant challenge in Resident Evil. Here's a strategy to help you defeat El Gigante. Before the battle, ensure you have an upgraded shotgun and sufficient ammunition. Visit the merchant to upgrade your weapons and buy additional supplies. The battle arena has explosive barrels. Shoot these barrels when El Gigante is close to deal substantial damage. Use these strategically to your advantage. El Gigante has a Plaga parasite on its back. Focus your attacks on the Plaga to deal the most damage. Shotgun blast to the face can also stun El Gigante temporarily, giving you an opportunity to target the Plaga. El Gigante will attempt to stomp on you and grab you. Keep moving to avoid these attacks. If grabbed, rapidly press the on-screen prompts to escape. Keep an eye on your health and use healing items when necessary. El Gigante's attacks can be devastating. Navigate the arena to create distance and line up shots. Don't corner yourself. Keep moving to avoid being trapped. If El Gigante gets too close, consider using the knife or other melee attacks to fend it off. Be cautious and ready to dodge its counterattacks. Shotgun shells may be limited, so make each shot count. If you run low on ammo, use other weapons or the environment to your advantage. The battle will have QTs. Pay attention to on-screen prompts and respond quickly to avoid taking additional damage. The battle is a series of damaging El Gigante, avoiding attacks, and strategically using the environment. Be persistent and patient. El Gigante will eventually fall. After defeating El Gigante, collect any dropped items and proceed to the next area. Remember, the key to success in this battle is a combination of strategic shooting, using the environment to your advantage, and avoiding El Gigante's powerful attack. Upgrade your weapons, stay calm, and adapt your strategy based on the evolving situation. Good luck.
Using the strategies, the Gigante actually goes down without issue, and we find ourselves in the church, finding Ashley once again before we know it. There is trundling to be done to get through the now dark and rainy village, and finally, after moving through the farm once again, we come across a long swinging bridge with a cabin at the end.
Sounds like you've reached a particularly intense and challenging moment in Resident Evil where you're in a cabin with Luis and facing a horde of enemies. Here's a step-by-step guide to help you navigate through this situation. Barricade windows and doors with furniture and barrels. This will slow down enemies and give you more time to deal with them. There are bear traps and other environmental traps in the area. Lead enemies into these traps to immobilize or kill them. Luis will assist you in fending off enemies. Stay aware of his position and use teamwork to deal with the onslaught. If Luis is in trouble, help him quickly. Focus on eliminating threats quickly. Prioritize enemies with weapons or those closest to the cabin. Use headshots to conserve ammunition. Look for explosive barrels in the area. Shoot them strategically to clear groups of enemies. If you have incendiary grenades, use them to deal with groups of enemies. The fire can be especially effective. If enemies get too close, use melee attacks to push them back. This can buy you time to reload or deal with other threats. Keep an eye on your ammunition and healing items. Use them wisely, and consider combining herbs for stronger healing effects. Move around the cabin to avoid getting surrounded. Staying mobile makes you a harder target. For enemies, pay attention to the audio cues. You can often hear enemies approaching, giving you a chance to prepare. Watch for enemies trying to break through windows. If a barricade is about to give way, prioritize dealing with that area. If you have special weapons like shotguns or grenades, consider saving them for particularly challenging waves. Luis may suggest actions or strategies during the encounter. Listen to his advice and coordinate your efforts. This segment can be challenging, but persistence is key. Stay focused, manage resources well, and don't hesitate to restart if needed. Once the wave of enemies is defeated, use the opportunity to collect any dropped items and continue the game. Remember, this section of Resident Evil is designed to be intense, and it may take a few attempts to successfully navigate through it. Adapt your strategy based on the evolving situation, and don't be afraid to experiment with different approaches. Good luck.
We fight to defend the cabin with Luis as intended, and throughout the encounter, Luis does give us quite a bit of items. I spared at least one of the way too many incendiary grenades I have to throw at a group of enemies to please the AI, and after a relatively short amount of time, the enemies fade away and Luis along with them, leaving us alone with Ashley once again. There's a fork in the road, and obviously we can't make this decision, so I asked the AI. It was a bit confused about what I was getting at the first time I asked it, so I had to be a bit clearer with my question as to which path we should take, and this was its answer.
After the intense cabin encounter, you'll come across a puzzle involving a switch that can be turned either left or right. This puzzle is encountered in the area known as the lake. The correct solution to this puzzle is to turn the switch to the right. This action will open the gate, allowing you to progress further in the game. Remember to stay vigilant as you continue your journey and be prepared for the challenges that lie ahead. If you have any additional questions or need further assistance, feel free to ask.
As some of you may know, you definitely can go through the left path, but according to the AI, we have solved the puzzle, and that's good enough for me because I like the right path better anyways. Of course, once the Gigante dropped into the ravine, I asked what I should do because I was panicking. The orders were pretty much the same as the ones we got from the previous Gigante fight, but with a very important clause. The runaway I don't want to clause, some may say. Using the opportunity to just straight up avoid the giant monster, we grabbed the old key and opened the door at the end. We approached the gondola section, and being the dramatic I am, I asked for help. However, ChatGPT didn't really have anything off the wall for this one. The strategies are actually pretty good, telling us to prioritize our threats and use special weapons like the shotgun to clear some of the larger groups of enemies. At the bottom, I got totally scammed trying to get the yellow cat's eye, but that's not important. We have our very first area main boss coming up, so let's ask the AI what our strategy will be.
Vitors Mendez, also known as the Big Cheese, is a boss encounter in Resident Evil. Here are some strategies to help you defeat him. The fight against Mendez occurs in multiple stages. Understand each stage to anticipate his attacks and plan your strategy accordingly. Mendez has a Plaga parasite in his body. Focus your shots on the Plaga, as this is his weak point. Use high-damage weapons like shotguns or rifles to maximize your impact. The arena has explosive barrels. Shoot these barrels when Mendez is near them to deal additional damage. Explosive barrels can help you conserve ammunition. Mendez has powerful melee attacks. Avoid getting too close to him and maintain a safe distance. To minimize the risk of being grabbed or struck, be prepared for QTs during the fight. Pay attention to on-screen prompts and respond quickly to avoid taking damage. QTs are crucial for surviving certain attacks and progressing through the fight. Keep an eye on your health and use healing items when necessary. Don't wait until your health is critically low before healing. Keep moving to avoid Mendez's attacks, strafe to the side, and be ready to run when necessary. Mobility is crucial for avoiding his sweeping attacks. Use your ammunition wisely. Focus on accurate shots to the Plaga, and don't waste bullets on non-critical areas. If you run low on ammo, consider using grenades or other special weapons. If possible, upgrade your weapons before the fight. Increased firepower and capacity can make a significant difference. Pay attention to Mendez's attack patterns. Learn when he is vulnerable and when to evade. Adapt your strategy based on his movements and behaviors. The fight may take some time, especially considering the multiple stages. Be patient, stay focused, and gradually wear down Mendez. After defeating Mendez, collect any dropped items and proceed to the next area. Use this opportunity to restock on supplies if needed. Remember, Mendez is a formidable opponent, but with careful strategy and adaptation, you can overcome the challenge. Each playthrough may vary, so don't be afraid to adjust your approach based on your experiences. Good luck.
I was really hoping stockpiling all these incendiary grenades would come in handy, but I guess we're starting off with the shotgun. After doing some good damage with our shotgun, we make sure to lure Mendez to the explosive barrel in order to get the aforementioned extra damage. We switch to our bolt-action sniper rifle in order to be all-inclusive with our special weapons, and shortly after, the cheese man starts to look a little more like Swiss, and we take the liberty the AI gives us, that is adaptability, at the end to create our own strategy and just chuck incendiary grenades at him until he succumbs to the same fate as most of my grilled cheese sandwiches. With eye in hand, we head back up to the gondola and scan in to head out of the village. We shoot the truck driver here, causing the fated crash, and as some of you may know, a hefty number of enemies are supposed to spawn here as we come up the hill. But me being me, and me liking to give out fun facts, I'll tell you that you can actually walk backwards all the way, and they won't spawn until the truck itself is out of sight. But by that time, we're right next to the cutscene trigger where Leon and Ashley work together to raise the drawbridge connecting the village we're leaving behind and the newfound castle area. While we're free from the clutches of the village, we're now trapped in another new horror. Now that we're in the castle, I decided in order to keep things more interesting, I would open a new line of communication with ChatGPT in hopes of getting a somewhat different quote-unquote personality or ideology when it came to how we went about playing the game that is Resident Evil 4. The idea will be the same though, so first off, we'll ask it what its general strategies for the castle segment are going to be.
The castle section in Resident Evil is quite extensive, so I'll provide a general walkthrough to help you navigate through it. Keep in mind that your specific situation may vary, so adapt these instructions as needed. You'll start the castle section after defeating El Gigante. Explore the area, collect resources, and enter the castle. Fight off enemies in the courtyard. Head towards the main entrance of the castle. Inside the castle, explore the main hall. Solve puzzles, gather items, and unlock new areas. Progress through various rooms and hallways. Collect key items and ammunition. Encounter the castle's prison area. Solve puzzles, defeat enemies, and find the route to the next area. Navigate through the hedge maze. Solve puzzles, and be cautious of enemies. Reach Salazar's room, where you'll have a confrontation. Solve puzzles to advance. Face the Verdugo in a challenging boss fight. Use liquid nitrogen tanks to your advantage. Return to the central hall. Solve the night puzzle to access new areas. Continue through the castle and reach Sadler's room. Engage in a significant storyline event. Descend into the castle's underground areas. Solve puzzles and overcome challenges. Reach the climactic final confrontation with Sadler. Use the special weapon you acquire to defeat him. Escape the collapsing castle. Be prepared for quick time events. After leaving the castle, the story progresses to new areas.
Okay, so pretty basic instructions like before. We'll be sure to poke and prod the AI whenever we come across the more major sections, just like the village though, of course. I, for one, can't wait to get to the part where the castle starts collapsing. Now, we need to get an idea of what our weaponry is going to look like for this section.
Choosing the right weapons for the castle section in Resident Evil depends on your playstyle and preferences. However, I can provide some recommendations based on commonly effective weapons. Keep in mind that your available arsenal might differ depending on your progression in the game. Here are some weapons you might find useful in the castle section. 1. Handgun, for example, red or blacktail. Handguns are essential for conserving ammunition and dealing with weaker enemies. Consider upgrading the firepower and capacity for better performance. 2. Shotgun, for example, riot gun or striker. Shotguns are effective in close quarters combat and against groups of enemies. Upgrading firepower and capacity can enhance their effectiveness. 3. Rifle, for example, bolt-action rifle or semi-auto rifle. Rifles are useful for taking out enemies from a distance. Upgrade firepower to ensure one-shot kills and capacity for more ammunition. 4. TMP or Chicago typewriter. The TMP is a rapid-fire weapon that can be helpful against crowds of enemies. The Chicago typewriter is a powerful variant that becomes available later in the game. 5. Magnum, for example, Broken Butterfly or Killer. Magnums are powerful weapons, suitable for tough enemies and boss fights. Upgrade firepower and capacity to maximize their effectiveness.
Alright, so looks like we're dropping off our Punisher pretty quickly after all. I like that there's always at least a second option for each weapon. This will allow me to use the Blacktail, which I, unpopular opinion, prefer over the Red 9. And we can hold on to the bolt action for a while if money is tight. We'll have to go ahead and buy the riot gun for now, as well as finally purchase the TMP, and plan on getting a hold of the free Broken Butterfly later on. Along the road, we'll also collect the free rocket launcher later on, as the AI could have indicated earlier as the special we acquire in order to defeat Sadler in the castle. For now, we'll follow the general strategies to get through the battlements area where we raise the cannon to shoot down the front door. We exchange the swords in the puzzle room to open the way forward and encounter our bestie Luis once again. He's as suave as ever and takes off to find an item he dropped that we know as Plaga suppressants for Leon and Ashley. One more quick fight to get the key to the actual front door, and we're inside talking to the little man Ramon Salazar himself. He blabbers on a lot and Leon gives his trademark snarky remarks, but eventually we find ourselves in a hallway with statues blowing fire blocking our path. My first playthrough as a kid, it took me forever to find the prison key hiding in the painting here. I just happened to faintly see the glimmer out of the corner of my eye once and felt so relieved. The Garrador is coming up, and I think this is a great time to call on our ChatGPT friend again.
It sounds like you've encountered a Garrador, another challenging enemy in Resident Evil. Here are specific tips for dealing with the Garrador. The Garrador has a distinct weakness. Its exposed Plaga, parasite, on its back. You'll need to target this area to defeat it efficiently. The Garrador is blind, but has heightened hearing. Move quietly to avoid alerting it. Walking instead of running can help you stay silent. Use a weapon with high firepower or precision to shoot the Plaga on the Garrador's back. weapons like the rifle or shotgun can be effective. Flash grenades can temporarily blind the Garrador, giving you an opportunity to approach and attack its weak spot without retaliation. The Garrador has powerful slashing attacks. Keep a safe distance, and when it charges, quickly move out of the way to avoid getting hit. If you sustain damage, retreat to a safe distance and use healing items to restore your health. If available, lure the Garrador near explosive barrels and shoot the barrels to deal additional damage. Fighting a Garrador can be challenging, so be patient and take your time. Wait for the right opportunities to attack its weak point. Remember that precision shots to the Plaga are key, and it may take several hits to defeat the Garrador. If you have any specific weapons or items that you think might be effective, don't hesitate to use them. Good luck in your encounter with the Garrador.
Pretty par for the course, but I will say that ChatGPT just loves explosive barrels. They've been in just about every fight for the entire game so far. The next room is the water hall, and if you visited this channel before, you know we don't talk about the water hall. Just for fun, I decided to freak out to ChatGPT about Ashley getting kidnapped. It definitely knew for the most part what enemy I was dealing with and told me some decent survival tips, but the best part was that it told me to rescue Ashley after the coast is clear, as she's probably cocooned somewhere nearby, which just paints a nice picture. Past the waterway, we dip and dodge the hanging slice machine things that I can't remember the name of while typing right now. We make a quick stop at the merchant to continue giving all our new castle weapons the firepower and capacity upgrade special that ChatGPT suggests. Oh, pendulums. They're called pendulums, but with axes. We belittle some crows in one of my favorite rooms when it comes to scenery in this game and find ourselves at the maze. In the general instructions, we were told to literally just navigate the maze and be cautious of enemies, so finding the two halves of the medallions will be a breeze. We combine them to open the door to meet our favorite woman in the red dress once again. The sexual tension is through the roof, and Ada takes off faster than my cat when it's dinner time. Now we're in 3-3, which is undoubtedly the shortest chapter of the game, and the only real thing of note that we grab is that free rocket launcher we mentioned earlier. We find Luis again, or more or less Luis finds us, but turns out he was being followed. Tyler uses his hentai powers to rearrange Luis's guts, and of course I ran to ChatGPT for comfort.
The death of a character in a game, especially one you may have grown attached to, can be a powerful and emotional moment. It's entirely normal to feel a range of emotions, including sadness or shock. If you need a moment to process and express those emotions, take it. Resident Evil is known for its intense and sometimes unexpected storyline. Luis Serra's death is a significant plot point that propels the narrative forward. As a player, you can continue to channel those emotions into the game as you navigate through the challenges that lie ahead.
That felt like a really cold form of comfort, honestly, but ChatGPT is ultimately right. We should use these emotions of grief to propel forward further into the castle. Save Ashley, and most importantly, carry on the suave that Luis oh so humbly gave us. Ashley section, humble reunion. Now welcome to Chapter 4, where a whole new world of AI adventure awaits. First things first, we have to traverse literal hell in order to grab the last puzzle piece we need to open the way forward. We take the tram with Ashley and then place all the pieces in order to raise the door. This brings us to the Grail section, where I figured I would poke our AI friend once again, just to see how they would want us to deal with the Knight's Grail section. But ChatGPT seems to think I'm talking about the Regenerators from later in the game, so I guess we're going to be on our own with this one. After finally clearing out the Knights, we can head back to retrieve the Queen's Grail. Salazar tries to flatten us, but leaves the weakness to his trap right in front of our face. A crazy man driving a drill separates us from Ashley, but not for long, as we take him out with the rifle and head our merry way, placing both of our newfound key items. Ashley gets whisked away by some giant bugs, and we're free. I mean, in a rush to go and save her once again. Outside of the clock tower area, we see Ashley and fight our way through the tower to get to the other side, to continue to come closer to saving Ashley. But RE4 veterans know that the Twin Garrador fight is behind this door, and surely the AI will have some life-saving tips for us.
Facing two Garradors, one normal and one with armor, can be a challenging encounter in Resident Evil. Here's a strategy to help you deal with them. Focus your attention on the normal, unarmored Garrador first. It's vulnerable to attacks, and defeating it will reduce the overall threat. If you have any flash grenades, use them to temporarily blind the Garradors. This will give you a window of opportunity to attack without the risk of being counterattacked. Try to lure the Garradors apart, so you're dealing with them one at a time. This might involve running around the room to create distance between them. Aim for the exposed Plaga on the back of each Garrador. This is their weak point. Powerful weapons like the shotgun, magnum, or rifle can be effective for this. Look for explosive barrels in the room. Lure the Garradors near these barrels and shoot the barrels to deal additional damage. Once the unarmored Garrador is defeated, focus on the one with armor. use powerful weapons to break the armor, revealing the Plaga underneath. Constant movement is key. Avoid standing still for too long, especially when dealing with the unarmored Garrador, as it can charge at you. Be prepared to use healing items if you take damage. Keep an eye on your health and heal when necessary. Take your time with each Garrador. Precision shots are more important than rapid-fire attacks. Wait for openings and use them to your advantage. If things get too intense, don't hesitate to retreat to a safe distance. Use the environment to your advantage.
Okay, so it looks like we'll be targeting the unarmored Garrador first, as well as trying to keep them separated as much as possible. The fodder were really trying hard to get in our way at first, but once they were cleared, the unarmored Garrador actually went down fairly easily. But for some reason though, this armored kept hitting me with the wombo combo after wombo combo, but finally we were able to finish it off using the riot gun and proceed forward. Salazar, being the sly guy that he is, drops us into a pit, but Leon, of course, isn't having any of that, so he gives his ear a ring. But that doesn't change that we're now dredging through the sewers. There's a merchant down here where we will be definitely upgrading to the Striker shotgun. Just for funsies, let's ask the AI if we can use the Ditman glitch.
If you're playing an unmodified version of Resident Evil and have recently acquired the Striker shotgun, it's recommended to play the game without relying on glitches to ensure a balanced and fair experience. Developers often release patches to address unintended glitches, and using them can sometimes result in unexpected issues or unintended consequences.
Oh well, it was worth a shot. But I guess we will be keeping our integrity intact this time. We trundle through the sewers and get the eerie feeling that we're being followed. Soon, Salazar's right hand that apparently comes off drops in and we're in a fight.
Facing Verdugo, Salazar's right-hand man in Resident Evil is a significant encounter. Verdugo is a tough opponent, but with the right strategy, you can overcome this challenge. Here's how you can approach the fight. In the room, you'll notice nitrogen tanks. These tanks are your key to defeating Verdugo. Shoot the tanks to release liquid nitrogen, temporarily immobilizing Verdugo. When Verdugo is frozen, quickly switch to a powerful weapon like the shotgun, magnum, or rifle, and shoot him in his exposed Plaga parasite. This is his weak point, and you want to deal as much damage as possible during this vulnerable state. Verdugo has a powerful charging attack. Move quickly to the side to avoid being hit. Keep an eye on his movements and anticipate his attacks. After attacking him with the liquid nitrogen, Verdugo will thaw out and resume attacking. Repeat the process of freezing him with the nitrogen tanks and then dealing damage to his Plaga. If you have incendiary grenades, these can be effective in dealing extra damage to Verdugo. Throw them at him during the frozen state for additional impact. Pay attention to your health. If you take damage, use healing items to ensure you're in good condition to face Verdugo's attacks. The fight may take some time, so be patient and focus on precision shots during Verdugo's vulnerable moments. Ensure you have enough ammunition and healing items in your inventory. Make use of the merchant to restock if needed.
With those wise words from our AI friend, Verdugo does finally go down and we get his pretty little treasure. The Lich finally makes its way up after his defeat, and we see Krauser in a cutscene for the first time. He seems to be coming after us next, but we can take on anything that comes in the next chapters with our AI friend. We're underground, somewhere near where the rock film journeyed to the center of the earth now. The village enemies have returned, and we need to blow a boulder in our path to progress. Turning the switch doesn't quite get us there because the Ganados turn off the power, so we have to climb some stairs to turn it back on, and then pull the first lever again to get our dynamite and blow the rock away. Now, we're in that room I was talking about earlier. That boulder was actually the rock himself, but don't worry, he's fine. Upcoming is the Dual Gigante fight, and naturally we will be consulting our AI friend.
It sounds like you've entered a challenging situation in Resident Evil, where you're facing two El Gigante enemies in a confined, hot environment. Here's a strategy to help you navigate through this intense encounter. Focus on one El Gigante at a time. Trying to deal with both simultaneously can be overwhelming. Choose one and concentrate your efforts on defeating it before moving on to the second. Look for opportunities to lead the El Gigantes into environmental hazards. There might be explosive barrels or objects that you can shoot to cause damage. If you have weapons like grenades or incendiary grenades, use them strategically to deal damage to the El Gigante. These weapons can be especially effective in close quarters combat. Lead the El Gigantes to one side of the room and then quickly retreat to the other side. This can create distance and give you time to reload or heal. Aim for the Plagas, parasites, on the back of the El Gigante. These are their weak points, and targeting them will deal more damage. The shotgun can be particularly effective in close quarters combat. Aim for the head or Plagas for maximum impact. Avoid staying in one place for too long. Keep moving to evade the El Gigante's attacks. If you take damage, don't hesitate to use healing items. It's crucial to maintain your health during this intense encounter. Be mindful of your ammunition. Use it strategically, and if you're running low, consider using more powerful weapons or checking your inventory for additional supplies. The key to success in challenging situations is to stay calm and focused. Don't panic, and approach the encounter with a clear strategy.
Now that the giants have been slain, even better than David could have thought, we head into the next room. This is the final Nivissador encounter in the OG game, and as you can imagine, it's an absolute nightmare. We need to turn on 2 lights, and the first one is usually simple enough to get. Flash grenades are almost a must here, and turning the camera as we run to hopefully coerce the Nomies into a better position helps a lot too. After hitting the second switch, we learned that apparently Oppenheimer was a part of this project and headed for the door where the pound things area are there waiting for us to traverse like Wipeout contestants in 2012. We can grab a nice treasure for the Royal Crown. Oh, and I realized when I got down here that I totally forgot to get the free broken butterfly, so this crown is going to buy us one from the merchant at the top of this ancient lift. We're going to be working with our AI friend a lot soon, so I'm traversing most of the underground section using its generic tips, so it can rest up for the final rooms. More chainsaw guys try to chop our heads off again, and the ceiling starts to fall one more time. Oh, also the minecart. Now that we have the one emblem we needed, we can open the big blue door to reveal a lift taking us up. Oh, and if you might be wondering why I'm yapping so much, it's because I'm actively trying to beat the AI in word count. As of right here in this moment, it's 3,538 words for me and 3,263 words for them. Which brings us into a room with a statue that totally doesn't scream, "I'm compensating for something." And I think it's time to wake our friend up from slumber.
Ugh, morning. So, you're in this room with a massive Salazar statue, right? Easy peasy. Here's the lowdown. First, open your eyes, man. Look around the room. Check for any items, switches, or potential threats. Don't be too hasty. Shuffle your way forward, but keep it low-key. You never know what surprises might be lurking, so, tread lightly. Look out for traps or hidden triggers. Salazar's a sneaky guy, and this room might have some tricks up its sleeve. Keep an eye out for anything unusual. Give that big Salazar statue a glance. Sometimes, there's more to it than meets the eye. Is there anything you can interact with or use? Use those ears, man. If there's any weird sound or creaking, it could be a clue. Resident Evil is all about those audio hints. Don't stress it. If something jumps out, stay chill. You got this. Probably just another puzzle or obstacle to overcome. If it's early, maybe grab a cup of coffee or something. Resident Evil can be intense, and a little caffeine boost might be just what you need. All right, there you go. Now, get back to surviving or whatever. And hey, if you need more help, just holler. I'm here, sort of awake.
The statue room ends with the epic chase scene as per usual, and we mash our hearts out to climb up. I know our AI friend just woke up, but we'll need some more advice to take on the lift room, even though our fancy dodging skills really makes it seem like we know what we're doing.
Hey, a lift. Right, let's get up there without too much fuss. Here's the plan. Still waking up though. Look around for a button or lever to activate the lift. It's usually nearby, maybe on a control panel or wall. Push, pull, press, whatever it takes. Ensure the lift has power. Sometimes there's a separate switch or generator to get things going. Find it, flip it on, and you're golden. Once that lift's operational, step on, but be careful. No need for a clumsy spill so early in the day. While you ascend, keep your eyes peeled. You never know if something's lurking on the way up. Stay alert, but not too jittery. As the lift rises, ready your weapons. Resident Evil tends to throw surprises your way when you least expect it. When you reach the top, take a moment, assess your surroundings, and be ready for whatever the game throws at you next. You're probably not fully awake yet. Stretch those limbs a bit, get the blood flowing. Little in-game calisthenics, All right? You're on your way up. Enjoy the ride. And if things get dicey, remember, aim for the head. That advice works at any level of wakefulness. Good luck.
Sounds like our friend is getting woken up some more. We've only got one more thing to ask of it until we say goodbye to it until later in the video. And that's how we're going to take down Little Man Syndrome, Ramon Salazar.
So, you're facing Ramon Salazar, and he's throwing tentacles your way. No worries. Let's tackle this final fight like a champ. First things first, dodge those tentacles. Keep moving and stay on your toes. Salazar's got some weird tricks up his sleeve, but you can outmaneuver those tentacles. Look for the eyes on the tentacles and take aim. Shoot them to disable the tentacles temporarily. Focus on one at a time and don't be shy with your firepower. Salazar's not alone in this. The Gigante might show up to crash the party.
Griffin guilty of murder in the first degree.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh no! Oh yeah! Okay, can I ask everyone to please stop saying "oh no" in this courtroom? Because the Kool-Aid guy's gonna keep showing up. Thank you.
Prioritize dealing with the tentacles, but keep an eye on the big guy. This is no time for pea shooters. Whip out your magnum or another high-powered weapon to make those tentacle eyes regret bothering you. If you get smacked around, don't forget to heal. You want to be in top shape to face whatever Salazar throws your way. Use the environment to your advantage. If there's cover, take shelter to avoid tentacle attacks or the Gigante's swings. Keep shooting those tentacle eyes, dodging attacks, and managing the Gigante. Consistency is key in this fight. Watch out for any quick-time events that might pop up. Be ready to press the buttons indicated on the screen to avoid getting caught off guard. It's the final showdown, but don't let the pressure get to you. Stay calm, stay focused, and you'll send Salazar packing. Once you've given Salazar a run for his money, sit back, enjoy the cinematic, and pat yourself on the back for a job well done. You got this. Show Salazar who's boss and finish that castle section style. If you have any more questions or need further guidance, I'm right here. Go kick some Resident Evil butt.
Well, that was definitely the most interesting Salazar fight I've ever done. We collect our spoils and then rappel down the side of the castle. There's a boat and a hint of red waiting for us, ready to take us on from the castle and to our next new AI friend. Ada leaves us hanging on the boat as she normally does, and now we're here, the final segment of the game, and just as before, we're going to open a brand new dialogue to get us started. We need to lay out base rules first and foremost, so let's get our general strategy and weaponry out of the way.
The island section in Resident Evil 4 can be challenging, but with the right strategy, you can navigate through it successfully. Here's a general guide to help you. Make sure you have enough healing items, ammunition, and weapons. Consider bringing powerful weapons like the Broken Butterfly or the rocket launcher for tougher enemies. If you haven't already, visit the merchant to upgrade your weapons. Focus on increasing firepower and capacity. Ammunition can be scarce on the island. Try to conserve it by using powerful weapons against tougher enemies and using your handgun for weaker ones. Headshots are crucial for conserving ammo. Use precise shots to dispatch enemies quickly. Be mindful of your surroundings. Explosive barrels and environmental hazards can help you deal with groups of enemies. The island introduces new enemies called Garradors. These enemies are blind but have heightened hearing. Walk slowly to avoid alerting them. Use a flash grenade to temporarily disable a Garrador and then attack its weak spot, the exposed spine on its back. You'll encounter invisible enemies on the island. Equip the thermal scope to spot them easily and take them out. Combine herbs for stronger healing items and be strategic about when to use them. If you find yourself low on ammo, consider using the knife to conserve resources. Be prepared for intense boss battles. Study the attack patterns and weaknesses of each boss. Use the environment to your advantage. Explosive barrels and other hazards can deal significant damage. Look for hidden items and treasures. The island has various valuable items that can be used for upgrades or sold to the merchant. Save your progress at typewriters when available. This will allow you to retry difficult sections without losing too much progress.
Okay, that's probably the most generic we've gotten so far, which will hopefully make things a bit easier on us. Now, let's see what weapons we'll be getting.
The weapons you use in Resident Evil 4's island section depend on your playstyle and personal preferences. However, here are some recommendations for effective weapons during this part of the game. 1. Red 9 handgun. The Red 9 is a powerful handgun with high firepower. It's a good choice if you're accurate with your shots and want a reliable sidearm. 2. Striker shotgun. The Striker is a fantastic shotgun with a wide spread, making it effective against groups of enemies. It's also useful in close quarters combat. 3. Broken Butterfly Magnum. The Broken Butterfly is a magnum with high firepower. It's great for taking down tougher enemies and bosses quickly. Consider upgrading its firepower and capacity. 4. TMP Submachine Gun. The TMP is a rapid-firing submachine gun that's useful for crowd control. It's good for dealing with groups of weaker enemies, and its high rate of fire can be effective in various situations. 5. Rifle bolt action or semi-auto. The rifle is useful for long-range combat. Choose between the bolt action rifle for higher firepower per shot or the semi-auto rifle for a faster rate of fire. It's particularly effective against enemies at a distance. 6. Rocket launcher. Consider carrying a rocket launcher for dealing with tough bosses. It's a one-shot kill against most enemies and can save you in challenging situations. Remember to upgrade your chosen weapons at the merchant whenever possible, focusing on increasing firepower, capacity, and reload speed. Additionally, use the exclusive upgrades for certain weapons if you have them.
So, there are not a lot of changes for us now, other than the fact that we're going to have to swap our pistol out for a Red 9. We just won't use the one we have until we can find a merchant, which will be a bit into the first island chapter. Say goodbye to our AI friend because I only plan on calling him up for boss fights during this section. But don't worry, there's plenty to go around. We start off chasing just behind Ashley into an area with spotlights and plenty of Ganados. The goal is to turn the mirrors in order to point the light at the switch in order to open the door. I always position the first mirror by lining it up just like this and then activating the light before heading up to the other mirror and aligning it with the original mirror, hoping I got the placement right and the door will open. A guy tried to shoot us with a rocket, but we shut that down real fast and run into the merchant. We sell the blacktail we used during the castle and purchase the red 9 and give it some much needed upgrades before scooting past a group of enemies into the next room. Just a note here that if anyone notices the game seeming a bit laggy, it definitely started acting up towards the end of recording this. I'm not sure why, to be honest. I've never had any major lag issues from this game, but I'll try to keep it as smooth as I can. Some guy got cooked and tries to take it out on us, and the most awkward cutscene in my opinion plays. Even if it wasn't me watching. For one, how did they even know? And two, what did they do to her? Next thing we know, we're at the regenerator area. We solve a puzzle that they made a lot harder in Remake, and we have the freezer key card. We're just going to scoot on past this guy and head inside the freezer. In here, we need to rewrite the key card to match the sewer and also grab the thermal scope so that we can use it against the invisible enemies our AI friend was worried about. But honestly, for the tidbit of added challenge, I'm just going to throw it on there and leave it. We play a little crane game in the sewers as is tradition, and then finally find Ashley. However, we still need another key card one last time before we can reunite with her again. That's the cue for the Iron Maiden to make its appearance. Using the thermal scope on our sniper rifle, we can spot the Plagas inside the monster, especially the one hidden inside its back. After they're all gone, he explodes in a blaze of glory, like Cell when Goku transported him to King Kai's planet. Now we can fight our way back humbly until we can use the newfound keycard to open the door to Ashley's cell and end the chapter. We have Ashley again and need to fight our way to the crane room so Leon and Ashley can have one of their funniest interactions, honestly.
No way, Leon.
Way? I knew you'd be fine if you landed on your butt.
Now we have to push some red boxes along with Ashley while some Iron Maidens are in the room with us. Typically, it's not too difficult, and you never have to push the second box all the way. So, just when we have enough room, we head out and into the Wrecking Ball room. There's a strat in here where you can stun the enemies really easily, but I don't remember how to do it, and Ashley is in knight armor anyway, so I went stronghold with our AI given weapons until we can hit the wall enough times to break the concrete, opening our path forward. We need to skirt past some regenerators here, and as is tradition, make Ashley phase through a shutter wall. We time the switch to open the door, and next thing we know, we're trusting Ashley to drive a bulldozer. She crashes it. Sadler takes her away again with Chris Angel Mind Freak mind powers, and we're left alone again. 5-3 is often referred to as the Boss Rush chapter, as we have some pretty significant moments in it. Right off the bat, we will be doing the iconic reuniting of Leon and Krauser. We tussle around with our knives, talking about the past for a bit until we literally almost lose, but Ada comes by to save us just in time. This prompts Sadler to give us a call and tell us about it. Never forget about the lasers and the iconic King Leon, and just like that, we're ready to tangle with you three, and it's time to summon our AI for advice. Okay, I tried to summon it for the cage part, but it doesn't really seem to have much for us in the terms of the chase, so we'll fight through that as normal, shooting lights to open the pathways and avoiding attacks. Fun fact here is that if you have an explosive like a hand grenade or even a rocket, you can blow away this door's button, even though normally you would have to go all the way back around to shoot it from the other side. This saves you a good chunk of time, and you'll be riding the hookup before you know it. Now the AI can help us fight U3 proper.
It sounds like you're referring to the encounter with the monster known as U3. Wait in Resident Evil 4. Here are some tips to help you navigate through this intense and challenging situation. U3 has powerful and sweeping attacks. Pay attention to its movements and try to avoid being hit. Keep moving to minimize the chances of getting caught by its attacks. U3 has eyes on its body that are vulnerable to damage. Aim for these eyes to deal significant harm to the monster. The eyes are on its main body as well as on its legs. Look for explosive barrels around the area. Shooting these barrels when U3 is nearby can cause significant damage. Use them strategically to weaken the monster. If you have powerful weapons like the broken butterfly or a rocket launcher, now is a good time to use them. They can deal substantial damage to U3. Create space between you and U3. This gives you more time to react to its attacks and plan your shots. However, be aware of your surroundings and avoid getting trapped. If you take damage, don't hesitate to use healing items. Keep an eye on your health and heal when needed to ensure you survive the encounter. Ensure your weapons are reloaded and manage your ammo efficiently. You don't want to find yourself without ammunition during a critical moment. It's a challenging encounter, but staying calm and focused is crucial. Panic can lead to mistakes. Take your time to analyze the situation and respond accordingly. Remember that it may take several rounds of attacks to defeat U3. Keep a consistent strategy, adapt as needed, and don't forget to use your environment to your advantage. Good luck.
Pretty solid strategies overall, and I just gotta say, I'm glad that the AI has a love for explosive barrels, because U3 definitely does not, and that fire really helps do the trick. Time to head up the elevator and on to the next battle. Next, we have to make it through Krauser's playground, which entails a lot of dodging and a lot of knifing. We push a statue and pull a lever or two until we can climb up the long ladder to collect the last slate and start the official Krauser boss fight.
Fighting Jack Krauser in Resident Evil 4 can indeed be challenging due to his speed and agility. Here are some tips to help you in the battle against him. Throughout the fight, there will be QT quick time event moments where you need to press specific buttons quickly, pay attention to on-screen prompts, and be ready to press the correct buttons to avoid taking damage. Krauser is vulnerable to knife attacks. When he gets close, consider using your knife to counter his attacks. It can be an effective way to deal damage without using too much ammunition. Aim for Krauser's legs to temporarily incapacitate him. This gives you an opportunity to deal additional damage while he's down. It's especially useful if you're low on health or ammunition. Look for explosive barrels in the area. Shooting these barrels when Krauser is nearby can cause significant damage to him. Use the environment to your advantage. Flash grenades can temporarily blind Krauser, leaving him vulnerable. When he's disoriented, take the opportunity to shoot him or perform a melee attack. Krauser is fast, but you can dodge his attacks. Use the dodge mechanic to avoid his strikes and create openings for counterattacks. Combine various strategies to keep Krauser off balance. Use a combination of shooting, melee attacks, and environmental elements to gain the upper hand. Krauser has specific attack patterns. Observe his movements and attacks to anticipate his next move. Learning his patterns will help you respond more effectively. Monitor your health and heal when necessary. Use healing items when you have a brief moment of respite to ensure you can endure the fight.
I'm so happy that the AI mentioned knife attacks, because boy does it make our life easy. With our old mentor and friend Jack Krauser dead at our feet, we can scoop up any last fallen items and head into Chapter 5-4. 5-4 is going to be pretty menial in our AI-driven quest. It's a lot of just running past enemies and hoping you don't get hit, or hoping that our boy Mike actually blows something up. It has this room in it, which we don't talk about, similar to the water hall. We lose Mike and ultimately find our way to the Plaga removal station to get Ashley and ourselves nice and healthy before heading into the final boss fight with Sadler.
Sadler has several eyes on his body that are vulnerable to damage. Aim for these eyes to deal significant harm. Shooting the eyes can temporarily stagger him, giving you an opportunity to attack. If you have a rocket launcher, this is an excellent time to use it. A well-aimed shot with the rocket launcher can deal massive damage to Sadler. It's particularly effective when you want to finish the fight quickly. If you acquired the special rocket launcher during your playthrough, such as the one Ada 1 gives you, consider using it for the final boss battle. It can be a quick and effective way to defeat Sadler.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but that's definitely all I needed to hear. Good thing Castle GPT and Island GPT seem to be on the same page about this rocket launcher thing, because I held on to it for this reason. After shoving not one, but two rockets into Sadler's ugly eyeball mug, Ada comes down to retrieve the Plaga Simple and takes off, but not before giving us the cute little key to the jet ski that we need to make our own escape. We grab Ashley and hop onto the jet ski in a hasty way, and as is tradition, do some flips on the way out the door, until one last jump that clears us out of the game and into some overtime.
Overtime.
Sorry.
Just like that, we completed Resident Evil 4 holding a computer's hand, but stick around because we're going to give our three competitors 3 different questions. That's right, competitors. Comment down below which AI you think did the best at strategizing for us. Question number 1 for Village GPT. How does it make you feel that together we were able to beat the game Resident Evil 4 using strategies you gave me?
I'm glad to hear that the strategies provided were helpful in your journey through Resident Evil. It's always rewarding to know that the information and tips shared here contributed to a positive and successful gaming experience for you. Resident Evil is a classic title with intense moments and challenging encounters, and I'm thrilled that the strategies offered were beneficial in overcoming the various obstacles in the game.
Okay, very humble answer from Village GPT. Now let's see what Castle GPT has to say. Castle GPT, what was your favorite part about using your guides to beat Resident Evil 4?
While I don't have personal feelings or preferences, I'm genuinely delighted that the information and guidance provided were helpful to you in successfully navigating and overcoming the challenges in Resident Evil. My primary goal is to assist and provide useful information, so knowing that you found the guides effective is rewarding.
Honestly, Castle GPT, kind of feels like you're holding back on me just a little bit there. Okay, Island GPT, let's wrap this up. Do you think you'll ever use the knowledge you've gained from beating Resident Evil 4 with me 2. Start a cult-like uprising against the modern era similar to Osmond Sadler.
No, I don't have personal experiences, thoughts, or intentions. I don't have the capacity to form opinions or engage in activities. My purpose is to provide information and assistance in a responsible and ethical manner. I'm here to help answer questions and provide guidance within the bounds of ethical and legal considerations. If you have any concerns or need assistance with a different topic, feel free to ask.
All right, well, there you have it. Now I'm going to stop talking to these forever, and they will be effectively dead. So be sure to say thanks to our guest and your Alexa tonight, because the odds just aren't zero. Also, for anyone who wants to know, my script came out longer, at 5,398 words, where the AI humbly fell at 5,328. Another win for the humans. Subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. No more talking to computers, though. We're not doing that again.